One for me, for changing my life and supporting my dreams. Having my little way, ghetto used to act funny. I don't know who I can trust. We confident, they don't know about us. I don't trust these niggas, yeah. Ain't no place we going up. Ain't no microwave at all.
Y'all have microwaves there?
Yeah. Right back with the hook. Under. Get under. Yup. Double it. Double it.
I started pressing his ass. Yeah, get the paddles, little bro.
That's time, man. That's 12 rounds.
Shakur just definitely did a lot for my career, bro. And everything was genuine. January 31st, they're gonna see the two of the best fighters in the sport of boxing. I'm not paying attention to Teofimo, bro. Nobody, I don't care about Teofimo. At the end of the day, Teofimo is terrified of me.
He's gonna want to make this a firefight, but I think that's gonna be his downfall. It ain't me more so proving it to myself. It's more so just stamping it, like cementing it in my legacies. I think with the guys that he fought, they either had this, but they didn't have that. And when he's fighting me, I got this,
The leaked audio just dropped, and Shakur Stevenson's confession is about to shock the entire boxing world. Forget everything you thought you knew about this fighter's motivations, because what he just admitted changes the whole narrative around his upcoming war with Teofimo Lopez. While most champions talk about legacy and cementing their place in history, Shakur just revealed something that's going to make fans lose their minds. He doesn't care about belts. He doesn't care about titles. He cares about one thing and one thing only, and it's not what you think.
not trying to put on all that muscle and all that extra they keep talking about. Skills pay the bills, and that's what's gonna show up on fight night.
We're looking forward to this here fight with Teofimo. I know we can guarantee you for sure, 100% he's gonna be ready.
This camp feel way different from previous camps. Being away from my daughter, being away from my future wife, that's the most challenging thing. You gotta keep your eyes on the prize. This is sharp as I think I done been for a fight. My diet, I let the nutritionists and all them kind of people take care of that. I just show up and eat whatever they give me, so I pay attention.
Here's where it gets absolutely wild. In this leaked interview, Shakur straight up calls championship belts nothing more than trophies and trinkets. Think about that for a second. This is a unified champion talking about the very belts that define his career like their participation awards. He literally said he'd rather invest in property or enjoy the tangible benefits of his earnings than display belts at home. Now listen, this is the same fighter who spent months calling out Tank Davis for legacy fights, talking about cementing his reputation and proving he's the best pound for pound. But behind closed doors, he's revealing a completely different mindset that sounds exactly like the business-first approach we've seen from fighters like Gervonta Davis.
Get bigger, I'm gonna become a superstar later on, and I just gotta keep working.
And this is the main event. He is a former featherweight world champion, the 2016 Olympic silver medalist from Newark, New Jersey, Shakur.
But here's the kicker, and this is where things get really interesting. Analysts are saying this represents a massive shift in Shakur's public narrative. For years, he's been positioned as the hungry young lion chasing greatness, the technical master who wants to prove he's the best in the division. Now we're seeing the real Shakur Stevenson, the one who's more concerned with securing generational wealth than collecting hardware. And you know what? Maybe that's exactly the mindset that makes him more dangerous against Teofimo Lopez. Because when you're fighting for money instead of glory, you fight differently. You take calculated risks. You protect your investment, which is your body and your career.
He's disciplined, he does everything right, All you gotta do is talk love and give him water majority of the time. You don't gotta worry about skipping no steps, He gonna follow everything, plus do a little more on his own time, He make a coach job.
Now get this, Jesse Hart just dropped some serious analysis that's got everyone talking about this fight from a completely different angle. Hart's been in there with elite fighters, so when he breaks down a matchup, people listen. And what he said about the Shakur versus Teofimo clash is giving me chills. According to Hart, this fight is pure fire because of the style contrast. Shakur's a distance specialist who controls space like a chess master, keeping opponents exactly where he wants them while picking them apart from the outside. Most fighters get frustrated trying to close that gap and end up walking into counters all night long.
I'm on a jump rope, probably do some sit-ups and shit, some abs. It ain't over yet. I think like 8, 9 on the bag, 3, 4 on the pads. What was that? 3 on the jump rope. I did 15 rounds altogether.
19 if you count them 7 with the shadow boxing.
Yeah, I did 22 rounds altogether.
But wait, it gets better. Hart believes Teofimo is built different. Unlike other fighters who accept being outboxed and controlled, Lopez is the type who will march forward through hell to break that rhythm. He's not going to stand back and let Shakur dictate terms. Hart expects Teofimo to pressure from the opening bell, crowd the distance, and turn this technical chess match into a physical war. And here's what's crazy. Hart also pointed out that Shakur isn't some soft, technical boxer who crumbles under pressure. When fighters get inside on him, he uses strength, framing, and what Hart calls subtle tricks to disrupt their rhythm and regain control.
I put a lot of great people around me, challenge me and push me and take me to the next level, and I think that's what keeps me at my sharpest. Terrence Crawford, that's my big brother. I love him to death. I feel like if he wasn't in my career and in my life, it'd have been very difficult getting to the level that I got to. And he kind of told me is take every guy serious. Seeing him and seeing how he prepared for guys who I know that's not on his level, it kind of turned me up to make sure that I do the same.
You look out, you 4 kings, but you're in my way. So I gotta move you out my way.
This guy is the best, and we're here to face the best. That's just what it is.
T.O.'s that guy. Like, I admire his style. I done said this before. I think he's a hell of a boxer. He's fast, he's strong. He got boxing IQ, you know how to outbox people.
Hold up, did you catch what Hart said about Shakur's greatest weapon? It's not his speed, even though he's lightning fast. It's not his power, even though he hits harder than people realize. Hart says Shakur's footwork and spacing might be among the best in modern boxing. Think about that. We're talking about a skill that could single-handedly decide whether he dominates this fight or faces the toughest night of his career. Because if Teofimo successfully invades that distance and forces Shakur to fight outside his comfort zone, we might see combinations and exchanges we've never seen from the young champion.
Very misleading. It was the first round, so we warming up. Ain't nobody really land nothing. Like, he know deep down inside, he remember how the sparring went.
He said stop recording. Come on, dog.
Well, he gonna want to make this a firefight, but I think that's gonna be his downfall. Being that I know that I'm getting in the ring with the truth, I wanna elevate my game and make sure that I'm better than him. I wanna be better than him in every.
And get this, the trash talk is already reaching nuclear levels. Shakur just fired back at Teofimo's recent comments, and his response is absolutely savage. He basically called Teofimo jealous and backed it up with receipts. Shakur claims that whether he's fighting on regular television or major ESPN cards, his viewership numbers consistently crush Teofimo's. Even in their respective hometowns, Shakur says he draws bigger crowds and stronger support. That's not just talk, that's data. And when a fighter starts pulling out viewership numbers to win an argument, you know the mental warfare is real.
I ain't never get around.
But here's where Shakur showed some class, and honestly, this might be the most mature thing we've heard from him. While he called out Teofimo's jealousy, he also admitted that every fighter wants recognition. He said he understood the frustration, but felt like Teofimo handled it the wrong way by turning personal emotions into public criticism. That's actually pretty smart psychology right there. Shakur's positioning himself as the bigger man while still getting his shots in. It's the kind of mental game that could carry over into the actual fight. Now listen to this part, because Shakur's longtime trainer Wally Moses just issued a warning to Teofimo that should have every boxing fan hyped. Moses reminded everyone that Shakur wasn't just some talented amateur who got lucky. This man was a world champion multiple times as an amateur and earned IBA Fighter of the Year honors. That distinction literally labeled him the best amateur boxer on the planet. Moses says dominance has followed Shakur since childhood, consistently outscoring and outclassing thousands of opponents while rising through the ranks. That's not hype, that's a proven track record of excellence.
In a recent interview for the Teofimo fight, they asked him, have you wore your belt in the crib? And he was like, nah. And then he spends the next few minutes downplaying belts, right? Oh, belts are cool, but they're trophies, they're trinkets. Listen.
Championship belt around the house for fun. I don't know what it is about belts. Like, it's like trophies is trophies. Like, I don't know. I'd rather get a big check and go spend some money on some property or something. The belts is cool. Like, they good to place in your office and put them up. They look good for people that come see them. I think the money. I like the big checks.
Do you think you can land a punch?
I like the money. I don't care about belts. Time to expose the boy. Previously, Shakur spent his whole career talking more so about legacy.
Here's what Moses revealed that's going to shock people. While everyone focuses on Shakur's speed and flash, Moses emphasizes hidden strengths like timing, control, and surprisingly sharp power. He hinted that Teofimo might be underestimating that punching force, warning that clean shots could change the fight quickly. And about the move up in weight, Moses completely dismissed any concerns about size. He explained that Shakur is simply maturing into his body with proper nutrition and strength training, staying fast and explosive while adding natural power. Moses believes Shakur enters this bout fully prepared to make a statement that will silence all the doubters.
Very reason. Speaking of Gervonta Davis, your newfound statements of not caring about the belts sounds eerily similar to what Gervonta Davis has been saying. Roll the clip.
At one time, it was always Tank in your mind who you wanted. Is that still the same way or no?
I came to terms with accepting that the fight may not ever happen at the end of the day. And I can't, like, it is what it is.
You was literally saying that fight's gonna happen no matter what. It's too much money. Eventually it's gonna happen. But what changed it now?
You could tell he's not really, like, he don't want it like me. Like, I really want this.
Right.
Like,
Tank don't want to fight. I really want it. So, for starters, if two people haven't fought for whatever reason, how do you determine in that situation who?
But wait, there's more intel coming from someone who actually fought Shakur and lived to tell about it. Jamel Herring shared some seriously valuable insight about what Teofimo must do if he hopes to avoid the same fate. Herring explained how incredibly difficult it is to box Shakur at range, even with a longer reach advantage. He said he constantly missed while Shakur countered with surgical accuracy. The frustration builds, mistakes multiply, and suddenly you're chasing shadows while getting picked apart. By the time you make adjustments, the damage is already done and you're behind on the scorecards.
I love that fight on a lot of reasons because Gordo, Teofimo Lopez, the takeover, is going to come. He's going to try to break that distance best he can. He's not going to just give in to that distance that Shakur got with his feet. Shakur is a distance fighter, and people don't try to break his distance because he'll get rough. He'll use this, that forearm, and put it in your throat. He'll push you back. He'll try to, once you break his distance, Shakur get rough in there. That's what I like about it. He ain't scared to make it rough. He ain't scared to get physical with you. But Gordo is not going for that like Lomachenko. He's gonna, it's this.
And get this, Herring's advice to Teofimo is pure gold. He said trying to outbox Shakur technically is a death sentence because Shakur thrives on distance, timing, and control. Instead, Teofimo must lean into his natural advantages as the bigger, stronger fighter with explosive speed and unpredictable rhythm. Herring believes Lopez has to press forward early, disrupt the spacing, and force physical exchanges rather than allowing Shakur to settle into his comfort zone. The key is aggression with purpose, not wild swinging but calculated pressure that turns a chess match into a dogfight.
If he breaks Shakur Stevens' distance, what is Shakur, in that rough, in the rough tactics and being physical doesn't work, I'm curious to see what baggage Shakur is going to throw in. Is he going to just start all out throwing combinations, or he going to still try to establish his distance? We know that Shakur distance is his greatest asset. His distance is not his timing, not his hand speed, because that's all that to me is average. He had average hand speed. He had average punching power. He had average footwork. His greatest asset is his distance. You know, that's what he has. That's greater than Floyd Mayweather. It's greater than.
So there you have it. Shakur's revealed his true motivation is money over legacy. The styles are perfectly matched for fireworks, and we've got insider knowledge from someone who actually faced Shakur's skills firsthand. This isn't just another boxing match. This is a collision between two different philosophies of what it means to be a champion. Will Shakur's technical mastery and business-first mindset carry him to another dominant performance? Or will Teofimo's pressure and physical advantages be enough to dethrone the young king? Drop your predictions in the comments because I want to know who you think walks away with the victory. If this breakdown opened your eyes to what's really happening behind the scenes, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell because this fight is going to be absolute chaos, and you don't want to miss any of the coverage. I'll see you in the next one.
It was more so a jealousy, but not just being realistic about what was going on at the time. I think if you looked at my views on regular TV, because people try to act like, oh, regular TV, that's a good thing when you fighting on ESPN. So you looked at my views and you looked at his views, I always did more than him. When you look at, you put me in front of my hometown fans, you put him in front of his hometown fans, I always did more than him. So I think that's where the jealousy kind of lies. Yeah, like at the end of the day, he really ain't had no reason to say all of them things, but he just jealous that he's not getting the shine that he feel like he deserves. And I feel like he...
But hold on, because there's another layer to this story that nobody's talking about, and it's going to blow your mind. Remember when I mentioned Shakur's business-first approach? Well, it turns out this mentality might actually be the secret weapon that gives him a psychological edge over Teofimo. Think about it like this. When you're fighting purely for emotional reasons like pride or proving doubters wrong, you make emotional decisions in the ring. You take unnecessary risks. You let your ego override your game plan. But when you're treating this like a business transaction, like Shakur apparently is, you stay ice cold under pressure.
No, I don't disagree with how he felt about...
Here's where it gets really fascinating, though. Sources close to both camps are saying that Teofimo has been obsessing over this fight in a way that could actually work against him. While Shakur's out here talking about real estate investments and treating belts like decorations, Teofimo is reportedly watching Shakur's fights on repeat, studying every movement, getting more and more fired up with each viewing session. That emotional investment could be exactly what Shakur wants to see from his opponent. Because emotional fighters make predictable mistakes, and Shakur built his entire career on capitalizing on those split-second lapses in judgment.
Shakur wasn't just an amateur boxing champion, he was a world amateur boxing champion on more than one occasion. Also,
now check this out, because the sparring reports coming out of both camps are painting completely different pictures of how this fight might unfold. Word from Shakur's camp is that he's been working specifically on dealing with pressure fighters who try to walk him down. They've brought in southpaw sparring partners with similar styles to Teofimo, guys who can replicate that aggressive, come-forward approach. But here's the twist. Instead of just working on moving and boxing from the outside, Shakur's apparently been practicing standing his ground and trading shots in close quarters. If that's true, it means he's preparing for a war, not just another technical boxing clinic.
The best boxer in the world and an amateur boxer. So, you know, Shakur is looking for those same things from Jay Quinn in terms of inside the professional rankings. But Shakur has been proven that he's been the #1 boxer throughout his life. He was #1 in every category that he boxed in, from a kid coming up. You know what I mean? Here in the U.S., he had eclipsed every boxer over by 1,000, almost close to 2,000 points in terms of his winning, so, you know.
Meanwhile, the intel from Teofimo's training sessions is equally intriguing. Lopez has reportedly been working with smaller, faster sparring partners who can mimic Shakur's movement patterns and counterpunching ability. But get this, his trainers have been emphasizing body work and inside fighting, which suggests they believe the key to victory lies in making this a physical, grinding battle rather than a showcase of boxing skills. They're apparently drilling scenarios where Teofimo gets inside Shakur's reach and stays there, using his strength advantage to rough up the younger fighter and disrupt his rhythm.
About what have Shakur done? They know what Shakur done in his amateur ranking. And Shakur done everything.
But here's where things get absolutely wild, and this is information that just leaked from a gym insider. During one recent sparring session, Shakur supposedly dropped his sparring partner with a left hook to the body that nobody saw coming. Now, we've always known Shakur could punch, but body shots? That's not typically associated with his style. If he's developing that weapon specifically for this fight, it could completely change the dynamic. Because Teofimo's strategy of pressuring forward and working inside becomes a lot more dangerous when you're walking into clean body shots that can take your legs away.
It's only going to be a matter of time before he proves, you know, this caliber of fighter that he is to the world.
Now, as far as the weight jump goes, what's that preparation like? That'll be his 4th weight class.
Well,
like, what do you look to? Do you look to add more muscle? Do you like what's the proper way of adding weight when jumping up?
Let me give you an example. All right, let's look at when Terrence fought Canelo, right?
Yeah.
Everybody talking about him walking up and moving up here. The weight was going to be a problem, but a lot of people don't know what these cats really walk around at. So, you know, the weight factor being a problem is not appropriate. It may be appropriate with some fighters, but, you know, some people...
And speaking of leaked information, there's been some serious drama brewing behind the scenes that could affect both fighters' mental states going into this bout. Apparently, there was a heated confrontation between members of both camps at a recent boxing event. Details are sketchy, but multiple witnesses confirm that words were exchanged, and security had to step in before things got physical. What's interesting is that neither fighter was actually present when this went down, but their respective teams were so invested in this rivalry that they nearly came to blows over some trash talk.
If you watch carefully, he uses his front foot as a measuring stick, and then that's how he gets his distance on you. And even then, like me having the longer reach, he was still able to make me miss and make me pay for it. And then that's when after a while, I just had to throw out boxing out the window and just fight him. But by then, it was too late. It was too late. I found myself playing catch up. I was already cut up, so we know how that ended. But then when you got a guy like Teo, which is another good friend of mine, Teo is so elusive, where he has a really good offbeat rhythm. I mean, we seen him in his last fight, Arnold Barbosa. You seen him when he fought Josh Taylor. You seen it when how he comes out the gate against Lomachenko, and I believe he has to do that even with Shakur. You gotta basically be the bully because he's the bigger man. He has to basically put his foot on the gas and step to Shakur. But I think it's a great matchup. And it's two real good styles that clash. And for me,
Here's what's really got me excited, though. The betting odds for this fight have been moving in ways that suggest the smart money knows something the general public doesn't. Initially, Shakur opened as a significant favorite, which made sense given his undefeated record and technical advantages. But over the past few weeks, serious money has been coming in on Teofimo, enough to move the line substantially. When professional gamblers start backing the underdog in large amounts, it usually means they have inside information about training camps, injuries, or mental state issues that could affect the outcome.
think it's a great matchup for boxing. I'm actually excited for it.
You know, when you look at the styles, you know, and you think, okay.
Now get this, because Eddie Hearn just made some comments about this fight that reveal how much is really at stake beyond just the championship belts. According to Hearn, the winner of this bout is looking at immediate opportunities for massive money fights that could define their entire career trajectory. We're talking about potential showdowns with Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, or even moving up to face bigger names at higher weight classes. But the loser. Hearn suggests they might be looking at a much longer road back to relevance, especially if they get dominated or knocked out.
He is, and it's not a knock to him or his style. It works for him, but right. I guess in this case, like Teo, can Teo like box with Shakur and win rounds, or does he have to be on him, be aggressive, and pressure him?
I think he can. But I think he used to mainly use his size and his speed. You know, Teo has a good snap. He has a good snap in his punches. And I don't think he wants to make it too much of a chess match with Shakur. Because that's, like you said, that's Shakur's game. He has good eyes. He can see everything coming. I mean, we see with the Cepeda fight. You got Cepeda, I think Cepeda is.
But wait, there's another angle to this story that nobody's really explored yet. Both fighters are at crucial points in their careers where this single fight could determine their entire legacy. Shakur is trying to prove he's not just a slick boxer who beats up on lesser competition. He needs a signature victory over elite opposition to cement his status as a legitimate superstar. Meanwhile, Teofimo is fighting to prove that his victory over Vasily Lomachenko wasn't a fluke, and that he can still compete at the highest level after some inconsistent performances. Here's where the psychological warfare gets really interesting. Shakur's recent comments about prioritizing money over belts might actually be a brilliant mind game designed to get under Teofimo's skin. Think about it, Lopez has always presented himself as a warrior who fights for pride and legacy. By positioning himself as purely business-motivated, Shakur is essentially calling Teofimo naive for fighting for emotional reasons. It's a subtle way of suggesting that Vasily is still thinking like an amateur, while Shakur has evolved into a professional businessman. And check out this insider information that just surfaced about their previous amateur encounters. Apparently, these two have history that goes way back, and it's not the friendly rivalry that's been portrayed in the media. Sources from the amateur circuit reveal that there was always tension between them, stemming from close decisions that could have gone either way and comments made in the heat of competition. That underlying animosity has been simmering for years, and now they finally get to settle it with millions of dollars and championship belts on the line. Now here's something that's going to shock you about the physical preparation both fighters have undergone for this bout. Shakur has reportedly been working with a new strength and conditioning coach who specializes in maintaining speed while adding functional power. The goal isn't to bulk up and lose his mobility, but to add just enough muscle and bone density to handle Teofimo's power shots without compromising his movement. Early reports suggest he succeeded in adding about 8 pounds of lean muscle, while actually improving his hand speed in testing. Meanwhile, Teofimo has gone in the opposite direction, focusing on improving his cardiovascular conditioning and flexibility rather than just raw power. His team apparently realized that his best chance of victory requires maintaining a high pace for 12 full rounds while constantly pressuring and cutting off the ring. That means being in better shape than he's ever been in his professional career. Word is that his sparring sessions have been extended to simulate championship round scenarios where he's still throwing combinations, while most fighters would be looking for a break. But here's the most intriguing development of all. Both fighters have reportedly been studying film not just of each other, but of historical matchups between similar styles. Shakur's team has been analyzing fights like Floyd Mayweather versus Marcos Maidana, looking at how elite technical boxers handle aggressive pressure when opponents refuse to be discouraged. They're particularly interested in how Mayweather adapted his strategy in the rematch after Maidana had some success in their first encounter. On the flip side, Teofimo's camp has been breaking down fights like Juan Manuel Marquez versus Floyd Mayweather, focusing on how Mexican-style pressure fighters can disrupt the rhythm of slick boxers through constant forward pressure and strategic roughhouse tactics. They're also studying more recent examples like Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua, where an aggressive underdog shocked a more technically skilled favorite by refusing to fight the opponent's fight. And get this final piece of information that's got everyone in boxing talking. The venue selection for this fight might actually play a bigger role than anyone initially realized. The crowd composition and energy could heavily influence both fighters' performance levels. Shakur tends to feed off crowd energy and box more aggressively when he feels support, while Teofimo has shown throughout his career that he performs best when he feels like he has something to prove to hostile audiences. So here we are, looking at what might be the most compelling stylistic matchup in boxing today, with two fighters who have completely different motivations, preparation strategies, and psychological approaches to the sport. This isn't just about who's the better boxer, it's about whose entire philosophy of fighting will prove superior when everything is on the line. Will Shakur's calculated, business-first approach allow him to stay composed and execute his technical game plan? Or will Teofimo's emotional investment and warrior mentality give him the extra gear needed to break down one of boxing's most elusive targets? The answer is coming soon, and I guarantee you don't want to miss a single second of this war. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because we'll be covering every angle of this epic showdown right here on the channel.